Welcome back to Copperhead Kustoms, and today we are not working on this, our 48 Bedford. Today we are introducing our latest build. This one you're going to want to see, so stick around to see what it is. So yes, like I stated, welcome back, and today we're not on our 48 Bedford. We're not having a break from it either. We just want to introduce our latest build because I've been going to be starting to do a little bit on it here and there, so we might as well show it from the start. So for those of you that have been watching the channel for a long time, you would have seen this in the background of the shop. It has been here for a few years now, and it is, I'll have to check the number to see, either a 1948 or a 1952 Austin Loadster truck cab, and it was one that we picked up from one of you guys, one of our subscribers, a very nice gentleman. We've been buying a bit of stuff off him here and there over the years, and we picked up this cab. Was the first part we got off of him, and it was a questionable, do we build it, do we not, or do we just have it here as garden art. Now when we first put it here, before we had all the enclosure here, we just had the shed and it sat there. Now the cab itself is pretty good rust wise. It's got some really nice patina in spots. It's got the green patina, which you'll see in a minute, and other than the roof being slightly caved in, it's pretty good. We'll find a little bit of rust here and there, no doubt, but in general it's a pretty solid cab compared to what we normally build. Yes, that's right, compared to what we normally do, this one is pretty good indeed. Now, my plan for this, if we just outline that at the start, is going to be that this is going to be my daily shop truck, just my basic daily drive around, pick up stuff. And we're going to use this as what it's meant for, as a little truck, utility type vehicle. So the plan is that this will have air conditioning, all that good stuff, so it's nice and comfortable. We're not going to roof chop it because we want to be able to fit in it, etc. We don't want to be cramped or anything like that. So that's what we're building this one for. Now, if we rewind back to the start, we never had the front end. We actually bought that off the same gentleman a bit later on down the track. But as you can see from the state of that front end, it's very, very bad. And I don't really want to fix that amount of rust. We basically would have had to start from scratch. The bonnet's roachy, all that. But it made it look drop dead gorgeous in this position. Now the plan was, I was thinking maybe I'd put a barbecue in there and have the bonnet hinge up with a barbecue in it, was what I was thinking. And at that stage, this was just going to stay as garden art down here at the shop. Recently, however, the same gentleman has found me a really, really nice front clip. So guards, nose cone and bonnet, pretty much completely rust free, and it also has the headlights, all the chrome, all this other good stuff. So when we got that, we decided, hey, I think we will build this now. So we've picked that up. I'll show you that in a minute. And in the last few months, I've been going around piecing all the bits of this puzzle together to the point now we have a big slab of it. We wouldn't have everything, but we've got a big slab, definitely enough to start building. And I have the concept in my head, and if you look at the thumbnail, that was a picture I've done on the computer, but that is basically what my concept is. So if we come over here, you can see it has the lovely green, and we all know that the green patina and the rust look so good together. Now there'll be a lot more green that we will bring out of this when we scotch over all the rust, but what we will do, I would say, is in certain areas we will add some more, especially on the front nose clip, which I'll show you, which, mind you, was originally green as well. But we will add some fakeish type patina in a very good way to bring a bit more colour into it. But we do love the rust. So yes, we will not be painting it at this stage. My plan is to keep the outside roachy. Now on the door here, there is a beautiful old sign, and I'd say when we scotch it, that will lift out a bit more, which I'm probably intending on keeping. Now as you can see on the side here, the cab is very solid. Now we have all the windows on the side. This one needs a bit of attention in the hinge department at the front. Now we also, these little curved glasses in the back, we have them, we have the rear window, the other door, we have everything. So basically in the cab we didn't have the door handle on the other side, which we have to source, and we didn't have the windscreens. Now if we have a look on the inside here, over here you will see that it even has the original key. And inside now we don't have the gauges in here, but we have the, you probably can't see, but down there is the engine cowl. But you can see over here we have the seat frames and the spring bases and the frame over there as well, which are very, very sought after pieces. Now at this point we will probably we'll have to do some test fitting, of course. The plan is to probably use them again, recovered of course, in nice covered leather, and have the original style interior in it. But we will see, one, how comfy it is, and two, if we have enough room. If we don't, like I said, these pieces are highly sought after and we will sell them for pretty good money. Now we do have a steering column here, but I doubt we'll use that. Yes, I doubt we'll use that steering column. We do have a nice, don't know if that was just a snake then or not. Something just moved out the corner of my eye. Anyway, like I was saying, we probably won't use that steering column. We do have a nice brand new aftermarket one that we will use for the steering column. And there's more and more and more pieces of this puzzle than what we're seeing just here. So lately, in the last few weeks, the same gentleman again has sourced us the two front windscreens. Pretty sure we've got the windscreen wiper, we've got extra bonnet hinges, we've got wicked condition gauges. There's all sorts of goodies that we've picked up recently off of him that will complete the interior. Now at this stage I'm undecided of what we're going to do in the interior, if we're going to, but I'm leaning towards that we may paint the inside of this one, like carpet the floor, sound deaden and carpet the floor, all of that stuff. We may actually pimp the interior out. I'm not certain though at this stage, but that's what I'm thinking of this one. We may pimp the inside of it out, seeing that we're going to daily drive it. And I am hearing some weird noises over here. I hope it's not a snake. Now some of you may have seen this sitting on the trailer in the background in the last few videos. Now what this is the same cab, but this was actually a convertible top with no doors or roof or back. This was used in Brisbane in the old days as a sand carting lorry, truck, what are you going to call it. The plan with this is to replace that cab over up against that tree and put that rusty front clip onto this one so we don't lose our actual garden art, and it actually benefits us because we will gain a heap of room over in that corner to either put some more plants in or to maybe put another workbench in. So that's the plan. But what we'll do with this is we'll probably put some patina on this to make it match a bit better. Now when we come over here we can see our nice front end. Now we have all of the chrome bars for the grill, we have some in the cupboard, we've got the chrome bars, the verticals and the other horizontals. So all of this from chrome. We have the front badge and we have spares of all of this chrome as well. We have the bonnet emblem. Some of these parts are rare and very expensive. This also has the original spring-loaded bonnet holder downer ties, hinges, and we have spares of them. Now over here you can see the indicator. Well, we have a wicked set of them with nice lenses. We've got the headlights. I think we're just missing chrome trims, but our little friend is trying to source them out. Now as you can see down the bottom here, this is an original bumper bar that will be used as well. So that should look really, really good. Now the plan with this front, I don't know if you can tell, but it has the green on it. So the plan will be to add a little bit extra green onto this to emphasize it. And then this, whether we clear coat this at the end or just oil it, I'm undecided at this stage. So like I've said, we now have a really, really, really nice 90% rust-free front end. That's the old original number plate on it, everything. So at the moment we're starting with a pretty good base. Now underneath where that front end is, this is a Holden HX 1-tonner chassis. Now this is the same style of chassis that we have used on our other two Bedford builds, but this one is an actual V8 chassis. The chassis itself is the same, but The diff is a V8 diff. It's called a Salisbury 10 bolt instead of a what they call a banjo, a Borg Warner diff. So a lot stronger diff. Now we actually have two of these which we picked up very cheaply. Now I do not think we will use this one. I think we'll use the other one, which I'll show you in a minute. The other one's probably in a bit better condition, and the other one has pretty much rebuilt suspension. Also, this one has been off the road for 7 to 10 years. The other one was being driven with a 350 Chevy in it 6-8 months ago. So now, as you can see, this is the same chassis, identical, okay, but this one is in a bit better condition rust-wise. There is a couple of little spots up in the front here that we will address. It's a pretty common area for them. Now, these sections here will get cut out like we have on the others, but as you can probably tell, is this one is missing the discs, rotors, calipers, and the spindles. So the plan is it was cheaper to buy the other chassis than to buy those parts individually. This one's also missing the steering box, in and out of tie rods and steering arms, etc. So we will nick all of those bits off of the other chassis. If you can also see here, this has lowered V8 aftermarket springs in it. It has all new bushes put through all the arms already, and the lower arms have all the polyurethane bushes. We also have a nice master cylinder and proportioning valve, which was all working recently. So we've basically got our brake, most of our deer brake and suspension components already done, and we also have nice shocks, so we don't have to spend any money doing any of that. Now back into the middle part of the chassis, like I've said, these sections here will probably get cut off, but as you can see, we have a nice fuel tank, and we actually have a, pretty sure it's an Aeroflow fuel pump with some AN fittings. We may actually nick that and leave that as a spare for one of our others. We'll see how we go with that, because we're just running a, we'll show you the motor later, but it will just be running a mechanical pump, so we'll probably just put that on the shelf for something else. But again, we've got the Salisbury 10 bolt diff, good suspension and bushes in the back. So with all of that, the brakes are good. So a lot of the running gear on that side of things of this chassis is better. It's better rust wise. So we'll just nick those components we're missing off the front from the other one, put them on this one, and there's our chassis sorted, bar a bit of paint. So like I said down there, this one has the brake components we want, which is the disc brake front end and calipers. Now the calipers alone are worth more than what we paid for both of these chassis. We got the chassis down the bottom for free, and I think we paid 300 or 200 bucks for this one. The brake calipers alone are worth more than that. We got a bargain on that aspect. Now these are Cheviot, the honeycomb, jelly bean, whatever you want to call them, jelly bean tile rims. These are like 14 by probably 6s, I'd say, a bit skinny in the back for us. But what I'm thinking at this stage is that we will use, now there's 5 of these on this, the spare is actually a matching spare. My plan, I think, is we will use 2 of these for the front with some skinny front tyres, perhaps white walls, but we'll polish these up. They're not really my favourite mag, but I think they will suit the build. But on the back, we may buy new, brand new 15 by 10s. So that will give us a big beefy back tyre, a tyre that we can pick up readily and second hand, cheap, everything. We will have little skinnies on the front in a 14, which will give us quite a bit of stagger in our wheels, which should give it that aggressive look. Plus the fact that we'll have like 2 9.5 tyres on the back and probably 1 8.5s or something on the front, it should give it quite a stance. Now we cannot proceed with anything in the back until we have finalised our wheel selection, and I'll tell you that why that is now. So the reason that is that these are going to be our rear guards. I've picked these up for $50 or $100, I can't remember now. These are off of an old Dodge pickup. Now they're a beautiful shape, but when you look at them here, they're very skinny. So my plan is that we are going to have the sides of our tub, I'll explain the tub in a minute, but the sides of our tub are going to be right on the edge of the chassis basically, and we're going to build basically a step side tray. Now we're going to have 15 by 10 tyres, so we are going to widen these guards maybe a foot or so. So we're going to have these big monster guards stepping out from the side of our tray, give it a really aggressive look. But here's the kicker. Everyone does their step side trays out of metal, yes? And has the metal guards and the metal sides and all that. Well, you know us, we like to, one, be different, and two, we love using some wood in our builds for the contrast of material. So my plan is to build a wooden tub. What the? Yes, I know it sounds a bit out there, but trust me, I think it will look ridiculously cool. So we're going to build a wooden tub, step side style tub, that's going to be riding on the chassis rails, but it's going to go all the way down to the ground, nearly 100 mil off the ground. Then we're going to bolt these big widened, big fat, Julie looking type guards to it, which will have the green patina into them as well. We'll have these wooden sides of the step sides. Now there's two options. We could do a similar style to the Bedford bed, where it's like a flat tray with the staggered side rails, but I'm sort of leaning towards making it a proper step side that comes up, goes around, maybe has a tailgate, all of that stuff, but solely out of wood. But it goes all the way down, even in the back, to 100 mil off the ground. So that's what I'm thinking. It will probably even, depending on, because it's going to be in from the cab, because those cabs are quite wide, the steps, the sides of the tray will be in. So we'll actually put proper little steps there between the cab and the guard. And I think doing the woodwork like we do it, putting our logo in, all of that stuff, it should look pretty much magnificent. I can pull it off and be completely unique, which is what we like doing. Okay, now something else with this one is the actual chassis finishes back here. Okay, that's the back of the chassis. Now, you know, on the Bedford we cut 2 foot out the middle, 8 inches off the front, 8 inches off the back. So this one, full length, which is the same as our red Bedford, finishes here. But if you can see here, we have all this framework that continues another 12 to 18 inches further on, which has a big psycho tow bar hookup, is what it is. So my plan is probably, depending on the proportions when we get it all started, is to extend the tray all the way to the back of this, and we will have an extra long tray, and then the tow ball tongue will stay on and just be popping out the back of our wooden box section, looking quite trick, because this is going to be a V8 suspension, V8 diff, all of that. We can actually tow with this vehicle. This is a 1-ton chassis, so that means we could put a lot of weight in it if we wanted. So yeah, so that is sort of the plan, is we may build an extra long one. Now you can also see here we have a nice exhaust system that come with the motor, already done, all new and in good condition. So we've got that already done, that fits straight on to one of these chassis. Now whether it will fit the extra long one, it probably won't quite pop out the back, but we could just extend it. But on the standard chassis, this will bolt straight on, because that came off of one of these. Now under there we also have our spare wheel and our spare wheel jack holder lifter thing. So we've got the perfect spot for that already. Now just here we have a fully refurbished radiator that fits, that's from the Austins, that actually fits straight in to the Austin. So we have that one. We have another one of these, but this one has been fully refurbished and is ready to go if we want to run down that route. We also have 2 or 3 standard radiators that suit the motor, but whether they will fit into this, but this one will definitely bolt straight in. So we pretty much got our radiator sorted as well. So at this point, as you can see, we've got our cab with all of our windows, we've got all of our chrome, we've got our nose with all the chrome, we've got hinges, bonnet latches, badges, we've got gauges, we've got a steering column like I said, I'll show you that in a second. We've got the chassis, the brakes, the suspension done, we've got the rear guards for the tray, we've got a radiator, we've got an exhaust. We're getting quite a bit, aren't we? So then we come over here. Now this here is a 202 cubic inch motor, the same we've been using in some of the other builds. This one is in pristine condition. It is a low kilometre. It has just come out of a running driving car that was in immaculate condition, pretty much a show car, that was pulled out for a 253 V8 conversion. Now So it is a run-down driver, and this is a 3-speed automatic Trimatic gearbox. Now we also, as you can see down there, have the aircon compressor. We have all the power steering pumps. It has the extra manifold, better manifold, and it also has come with extractors and will weld straight onto that other exhaust. So this has everything. It's a runner and driver. It doesn't need anything. It's got all the hoses, the whole bit, the bang and everything. We just need to buy some belts for it and put it in and hook it up. So as you can see, we're collecting quite a few things for this. But hey, there's still more. And in this box here, we have our idiot, whatever it is, steering column, GM steering column. As you can see, it's brand new, but it was painted to go into a car, but just dry fitted, never actually ran. Now, whether we run with this in this colour and we maybe colour match and paint the interior this colour, I don't know, I doubt it. We'll probably have to repaint this, but then we have the wiring kit, the flashes, all of that for it. We've got the actual bit that goes through the floor, and I think we've got here the horn, ring, and the blinkers and all of that good stuff for it. So we've got our steering column. In another cupboard out the back, we actually have a steering wheel and horn. So we've got that part sorted as well. And here we have some other pieces. We've got pedal assemblies. Now this is actually a manual set, but we do have some automatic brake pedals as well. So we've got all of our pedals sorted out, an actual rear vision mirror if we don't want to buy one. We've got a headlight switch if we don't want to buy one, and a handbrake as well if we don't want to replace any of them. So there's more pieces to the puzzle, but there's still more. So yes, there's still some more. So as I said, here is our speedo in mile per hour for our inside our dash. Then we've got our, with the Austin emblem in it as well, our oil, fuel and amps gauges. Now whether we have them hooked up correctly or not quite sure. We've also got our little indicators for, they go onto the guards. We have 2 of them, as you can see, and I'm pretty sure, I thought we had spare globes, lenses for them somewhere, maybe not. Just got some little knickknacks there. As you can see, we've got extra globes. We've got our wipers, 3 wiper arms, spare bonnet hinges. We've got quite a few of them. We've got spare latches for our bonnet, and here's a spare set of badges for our bonnet and our grille bars, etc. So we have quite a bit of stuff in there. I don't even know what this little panel is, but it's for something. Now in the next box, we have spare headlights, as you can see. I'm sure there was some spare, lenses for them. But we have spare headlights, and we've got some random things. An indicator stalk if we were to use that. We also have a NRMA badge to go that came off of it to go on the front bumper. And in here is some more chrome pieces. And then we have a heap of these old original vintage style marker lights, etc., and heaps of crazy lenses and globes, etc. So we've got all of that, so we can start putting some of them on other builds, but more stuff for this build. And in this box here is our 2 windscreen glasses. So very good condition ones, all wrapped up beautifully so they won't break. Now also in the cab, like I said, the curved rear glasses, which are very, very hard to get, in there. So what else do we need? So what else do we need is what I hear say, well, this is what we need. We need to get our hardwood for our tray, probably a little bit of metal here and there. A lot of it we may already have. We need to finalise our decision on our wheels and then purchase them. So they may just be a set of rear wheels and tyres. The fronts we would clean, and I've got tyres for them, or a complete different set of wheels and tyres. So we need to finalise that before we can do anything in the back of that truck, cab, whatever you want to call it. We need to get the material for the interior, i.e. the leather. Now I'm thinking probably, because it will be green, I'm thinking like maybe a saddle brown, a little bit tanner brown, not tan, but in between saddle brown and tan brown type leather is what I'm kind of thinking. So we are on the hunt for a, you know me, a leather lounge suite, a good quality leather lounge suite that is free or very cheap, that we will chop up and make the leather interior out of. There'll be a few little odds and bobs, of course, that we're going to have to buy. I think we may need a bit more sound deadening, and then we might, I was thinking if we did carpet, maybe like a chocolate brown carpet, and I'm not really quite sure what I would paint the inside. Maybe actually paint the inside in a nice fresh green with the brown and brown, or I'm not 100% on the interior, what we want to do exactly yet. First we want to get it out, get the cab mounted, sit in it, and kind of decide from there whether we're going to reuse those seats or whether we can sell them for big money and we just make a custom seat. Now, we do have that red interior, but I don't think that would suit it with the green. I don't really want to do black either. I honestly think a brown will be the way to go with the colour for the interior. And like, I don't want to do anything too outrageous like we have on the other builds, because I've said this is want to be a daily, so I want this thing really, really comfy. We need to also get for the inside, the under dash aircon unit. Now we'll just pick one up second hand probably. You get it for about $100 or so. We've got all the compressor, everything else for that. Before we can run the power steering, we do need to get a power steering box. Now they're quite expensive for these, but we have everything else for that system. So that can all just be put to the side though until later on, and we source that box and we can swap the box out and bolt all the bracketry and stuff on. Other than that, we're pretty good. We do need a tail shaft. I don't think we have a tail shaft as yet. That should just be a bolt in, as we're not doing anything crazy shortening or anything on the chassis. So we don't actually need a really lot. We don't need anything to get us started. We can do an absolute ton of work to get started, but before we could finish it, like, yes, and then we'll need other little odds and bods. You know, well, we do have some pretty crazy tail lights out of old Chevys that we may use on this. I think this may actually be the perfect car to use, a set of them. I think they're out of a 1960, they're round. I think this may be the truck we put them in on. Now, this is not a budget build. We will do it as cheap as we can. You should know that by now, guys. But this is not a strict, cheap, like $2,000 budget or $5,000 budget or anything. This one costs what it costs. But as you can see, just piecing what I've done together, it's going to be pretty cheap. I think we paid $1,100 for the motor and trans and the exhaust, and then we got 3 radiators there. The chassis, I was $300 for the pair. This, I think, I couldn't actually even tell you. $1,000 or $1,500 we've probably paid, maybe even $2,000 we've paid for all of this Austin stuff over the time. We've probably paid more for this cab than we have for any other cab that we have. But at the end of the day, it's going to be pretty good. It's one that, as you would agree by looking at that thumbnail, it is a mean looking little truck. And I think when we finish it, you will agree to that. So yes, we have over 90% of what we have to build this. It will be different than anyone else's, as per usual. With the tray, we will be looking somewhat similar to something like this. Now that other cab will stick out, probably out a bit fatter than what this one does at the cab itself. The tray will come back in pretty much where this one sits, and we will do something similar down in here. Now, it will notch a bit differently because, remembering, this has had 2 foot cut out of it, so this notch work would actually be a lot further back. Now, we will have a similar size guard, if not even a bit wider, so you can sort of see from this how much we will actually be putting in to those guards. I think these are 265, 275, the torque twisters. Don't quote me on that. It could even be a 295. So tie size will be maybe even a bit fatter than these. So you'll see that those squarish looking guards should look mental like this wide. But in the back end of the tray, imagine the wood going all the way down to the bottom and all the way around the back down to the bottom as well. Then this was what I was saying with the sides, whether we ran sides like this or we actually ran them all at this height, all closed, and had like a little tailgate. So that's just that's the one decision I basically got to make on the build, that and the interior. So that is all just a quick introduction to this build, because we are going to be starting it soon, and you guys should see where they come from and what they look like before we get them to the state of some of the others. That these things are just plucked from the dirt basically. So like I've said, this has been sitting in our yard for over 2 years. How long it was been sitting in paddocks before that, who actually knows? But we take these builds from a pretty rundown state, as you can see. They don't just turn into what we finish with them like that. Okay, so that's what we've done, is we've gone through and we've pieced all the pieces of this puzzle together, ready to give it a bit of a nudge. So we are going to start, like I said, going to start this soon. That's why we've done this video, so that you know where it's come from, because we will just start plucking it out and start putting some pieces together, and then you'll know what we're actually doing. Now, we haven't finished with our bedford. We are still working on the bedford. This will be our fill-in work, or just you know, we have a week off from the bedford, we'll start on this. I like to have multiple projects on the go. Way you get burnt out on one, or you're waiting on parts or whatever, you need a different spur in the brain, you don't feel like doing that job that week, you've always got something else to do. You should all know that, the guys that watch me, I like to jump around a little bit to keep me enthused. So like I said, there's others coming as well, but we thought we'd get this one introduced. We're about to road trip to go get a couple of wicked ones, which will be the build after this. You'll probably see that in the background soon. That one will be probably the prized possession of all of them, but with that, you'll have to wait and see. So with all that said, like I said, a different video this week, no work, just me rambling, but showing you what's going on. And I'll say thank you guys for watching. Look out for this new build, and I'll see you next week.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.